this morning, I guess. But yeah, tonight's supposed to be the big one. So you know.
This is Matt.
Hello and welcome. My name is JP, and this is the Syncfrog Expert Hour for 9/16/2014. Today it's going to be a pretty quick one. We're going to be using Salesforce today and doing some lead create using a Google Sheet that would be from like a trade show or something along those lines. So let's get started. Here you see our Syncfrog homepage and our lovely little video here, and you can always click on the login button on the top right hand side, and that will bring you to log in to our application. I'm already logged in, so it kicked me to our login. And if you had any questions about our pricing, what it is, anything along those lines, you can click on our view packages, and that will also give you a answer pretty much about what each thing is. The main one here, what a data leap is. So a data leap is the process of sending information from one place to another. So sending the results of a SurveyMonkey survey to Infusionsoft would be one data leap. The basic version allows you to set up one data leap. The paid versions allow you to set up more. Once this leap is set up, there is no limit to the amount of data you actually can send. So what that means is if you have one survey that you have set up, you can synchronize that survey multiple times, but it's only considered one leap. It's one set of source, one target, so that is one leap. There's no limit to how many times you can make that leap occur, so that is what that means. So even our free accounts will have unlimited data transfer, although you might be limited by whatever target you're using. That could be MSN, Amex, or Salesforce, or anything along those lines. Okay, so here's our pricing. So every Syncfrog account is created as a basic, so you get one login, one data leap, manual sync, and just community support, and is free. Bronze, you're looking at 5 data leaps, and you'll get that daily scheduling and community support. And silver, you get 3 logins per connector, so that would be if you had a production and sandbox version of Salesforce, or we're syncing data to multiple targets, and using multiple credentials for each one. So you could have 2 different SurveyMonkey logins or anything along those lines. So you could actually have 3 logins per connector. And then the gold is unlimited for everything and also has the smallest amount of scheduling. We have hourly scheduling. So you could synchronize the same survey every hour. Oh, excuse me. Not that this is boring stuff, just that I'm tired. So that is the packaging and pricing for our stuff. Now we can take a look at our giant sheet of names that we got from our trade show. So it gives us a list of the first names, the last names, their email address, and what company they came from. So I want to dump all of this into Salesforce, right? So I want to create all these people as leads, and let's say this is a breathing document. So there's about, I think, 152 line items on this particular one, 154, and this particular document is going to be updated every day. So we want to synchronize this daily as all the new leads will be coming across. So we're going to create our new data leap here. So we're going to say create new data leap. And our source is going to be that Google spreadsheet, right? So we have our giant sheet of names in our spreadsheet, and that's going to be going to Salesforce. Cool. So we have our source and we have our target, and we'll click on next here. We'll provide it what credentials we're using for our Google spreadsheet. I've already got this signed in. And then we're going to select what spreadsheet it is. So it's the one that's called giant sheet of names. And our collection method is it just incremental, which would be any of the new rows, or are we going to be syncing the all rows every single time? Well, I'm going to do incremental new rows.
Yeah.
And we'll click on next here. Tell what credentials we're using for Salesforce, and this is developer account, so we'll just set that. And we'll say lead create 9/16. And we'll click on create and say, okay, take me to the mapping.
Me and my wife are going through a divorce and a custody battle.
So that will take a second for us to go through. I'm going to have a sip of coffee while we do that. All right, cool. So, like I said, we want to be creating leads. So what we're going to do is we're going to click in our Salesforce types here, lead. You'll notice that it's not alphabetical order, except we have it categorized in alphabetical order. So we have our basic types, which is our most frequently used ones. Any of our advanced types that we can map to. So this could be, campaign member or anything along those lines. And then at the bottom here, we have any custom types that we've created. So here's a bunch of different ones. Our expert hour from back on the 1st, an MPS object, a couple other things that I've created for this. So, but again, we'll just go to lead and we'll click on add new section. Awesome. So what do we want to have happen here? Like I said, we want them to be created as new leads. So in our first drop down here, we have create new record, right? Although we could do find existing record, update existing record, update existing, or create new record.
Yeah, I mean,
so this time I want to just create a new record every single time. Like I said, this is our most basic use case that we have for Syncfrog. It's just creating people inside of it. So we have our create new record.
Yeah.
And we have our required fields have been added to our section up here at the top. So our required fields are company and last name. So we'll select from our Google spreadsheet our company field.
Yeah, exactly.
And our last name field, right? So that's our two mandatories. Now we can actually try the auto map fields and see if that grabs the rest of it for us. So that grabbed the email address and went to the email address and our first name to first name. So that is awesome, right? So that's automatically filled out the rest of our mapping for us. However, there's a couple things that I want to have happen. So we're going to click on lead again, and I'm going to say new lead. And I want our new leads to come over with a lead source. So in our dropdown, we're going to see, what our lead sources could possibly be, right? So we'll just say web, right? So I want to automatically have the value of web be passed over. So inside of our mapping here, we are going to map a new field. And we are going to use a fixed value for that.
Well, it'll be set.
We'll type in WEB,
it won't
right?
be a change.
And that's going to go into our lead source, right? So that's our pick list value. Awesome. So that's going to automatically provide our lead source for us. Now, is there anything else? I mean, we can put a Twitter ID if that was provided for us. Anything that's actually in here, address, additional information, any other information that we would really like to have.
She's nearing retirement, so she's switching to 410s.
So that's awesome. So this is going to create our new leads for us. And we also have something here that says if there is an error, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to stop processing your data completely? Do you want us to skip just this one section of mapping? Or do you want us to skip the source item and continue, which would mean skip that particular line item and continue. In this particular case, I'm just going to say stop processing completely. And we'll click on save and apply the current mapping. Okay, so now I'm going to go down my giant long list.
my main responsibility here, yeah.
And we should have one eventually. There it is, lead create for 916. And we can go ahead and click on activate. Now I'm using a free, platinum version of our application, so I can create a schedule to run this, or I can run this now. If I wanted to create a schedule, again, I can set the frequency of hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. So if I was running this weekly, you can actually tell it what day of the week you want it to run, and what time zone you're in, and what time you want. So I'm going to cancel that. I want to say run now. And that's going to go ahead and grab our Google spreadsheet data. And that was 154 line items, so 153. So there it goes, 153. And drink a little bit of coffee. It's not going to take us very long. This will be less than about 52 seconds, I would say, to process all of these records. Now, you don't have to keep this browser window open or anything along those lines while this is actually processing. We just give you that stop bar just in case. So this will go do what it needs to do.
Yeah, I had seen that.
While it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and go to our lead list here. I'm going to cancel. And you can already see that we have 94 new leads for today. If I refresh it, now we're up to 109. And one more refresh, 127. 149, and then lastly we should have 153. Excellent. So you can see that our job started and took less than a minute. Runtime of manual, total 153 records, status finished. And if we wanted to, we could actually see all of our successful or failures. This again is a paid for version of Syncfrog, so I can see a little bit more stuff. I can download this as a CSV, or we can take a look at it as a Google spreadsheet. So if I click on Google spreadsheet, it's going to take a second as Google is still receiving the data. You can see that our ID value comes across. Our success, I created a lead, and there's our lead ID, and first name, last name, company. So you can see that it just exported out all of our successes for us. You can also see this information if you click on View Log Details. There is our row index 1, there's our lead, there's our target ID. So that's actually our lead ID inside of Salesforce. And again, it says 153. So that's kind of cool. So that is real quickly how you would create leads using Syncfrog. And there is our 153. So if I click on Adela Pasty, you can see there is the company name and our lead source automatically provided, and their email address and everything else along those lines. So that is real quickly the Syncfrog Not So Expert Hour. Thank you for watching and have a great day.
Yeah, it sounds like